Good morning. In today's devotion, we're going to be continuing our look at the do-nots of Jesus, these instructions that he gives in Matthew chapter 6 and 7. This morning, we're going to be looking at the second of these do-nots, his instruction, do not babble when you pray. Jesus says in these verses, "When you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners that they may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him." Then Jesus says, "Pray then like this, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." There are two very important things that Jesus is highlighting in this passage as he's giving his instructions about prayer. The first is that when we pray, we're not to be like the hypocrites. This was the same principle that Jesus used from yesterday's do not when he was talking about our giving. That our giving, like our prayers, needs to be done from a pure heart. Jesus' first instruction is that when we pray, it shouldn't be prayer for show. He isn't saying that you can't pray in a group or that you can't pray in public, but he says don't be like the hypocrites who pray in order to be seen by others. Don't pray in order to make yourself look better. And the other thing that Jesus says about prayer is that we don't have to heap up empty phrases like the Gentiles do. And what he's saying there is that God isn't concerned about a word count when it comes to your prayers. The pressure's off because God already knows what you need before you ask him. And that is a wonderful promise from God that we have. That when we're praying, we're not bringing news to God that he hasn't already heard or been aware of. And so then Jesus gives this simple instruction for how we are to pray. We know it as the Lord's Prayer. And in this instruction for prayer, it's a simple acknowledgement of who God is and who he is in our lives. It's an encouragement to pray to God every day for the things that we need to get us through that day, not the things that we're going to need next week or 2 months down the line. It's a prayer that God would grant us our daily needs. And finally, it's a confession that we've sinned and we need God's forgiveness. And the final ask is that God would continue to protect us from temptation and from the evil one. So keep that in mind as you go to God in prayer today. And have a good one.